We've heard in the House tonight already some discussion on some of the key things this bill does, and can I just commend Rahu Katane from the Maori Party, who actually addressed the full ambit of what this bill does rather than focusing on just the single aspect of the removal of gift duty. But I do have to start there because, frankly, sir, having listened to some of the contributions in this House tonight, I'm appalled at the level of absolute claptrap being spoken about the system, and frankly I would be very surprised if any of the members who have contributed, possibly with the exception of Rahui's in the last half hour that I've been sitting here, have ever been through the process of managing gift duty, applying transactions, setting up these very structures and dealing with them. Because listening to some of the speakers, sir, it is very clear to me that they have no concept, in fact, of how gift duty works, what it does, and how simple a matter it is to structure your affairs so it is of no relevance to you. So the removal of gift duty, we hear from Mr Burns, he won't support because it doesn't do anything for the Canterbury earthquake. Well, good on him, but this is tax legislation. The Canterbury earthquake is, of course, a very serious matter, but, sir, life does go on. This is a tax bill addressing issues with the tax system, and to say he won't support it because it doesn't do anything for the Canterbury earthquake is, sir, inane, frankly. And then Mr Cunliffe, says he doesn't support it because guess what? It's a tax cut for the wealthy. Talk about your one-trick pony. That man can't give a speech in this House without claiming we're giving tax cuts to the wealthy. But let's look at this. Gift duty is not a tax cut. This thing creates almost no revenue of note for the country. Do you know what it is doing? What it is doing, Mr Speaker, is removing, frankly, a nice little earner for lawyers and accountants all up and down the country. So if Mr Cunliffe is concerned because we're removing this nice little revenue stream from the lawyers and the accountants up and down Herne Bay, then he should stand up and say so, and not try and pretend that it's some sort of tax cut package to the wealthy. Either the man is disingenuous in the extreme, or he has no clue. And I suspect possibly both. He's probably a little out of sorts because his leader doesn't know who he is. But, sir, let's be really clear. Gift duty does not stop assets being transferred. Gift duty has never stopped assets being transferred, and that, as anyone who is familiar with the sector knows, the removal of it, sir, is not going to open up assets being suddenly transferred into family trust, because it has been the simplest thing to structure your affairs around for years and years and years. And what the abolition of it does, in fact, is to recognise that it is a nonsense, and rather than creating an absolute industry of fee charging for the professional sector, let's front up and say this is not achieving anything of note to the public purse, it is not stopping assets being moved into other structures, and it simply creates a compliance cost burden which is far from justified. So I think the arguments we've heard in the House have been pretty poor in respect of this. I do hope we have a better discussion at Select Committee, but can I just end my contribution tonight, sir, picking up the other two key elements of the bill, which are quite important ones. The changes to the secrecy and the information sharing rules, which are critical to making our tax system work well and frankly deserve a lot more debate than we've heard on them tonight, and the changes to the tax dispute system. Those, sir, are where the real meat of this bill actually are, and that's where I hope we have a lot better discussion in the Select Committee than we've heard this evening. Thank you.